Well, welcome back to Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Today, our exciting video is going to be called It's Time for a Change. And what does that mean? Well, if you watched a bunch of our last videos, we've been using these little nipper saws and cutting trees down in this area and cutting up wood with them and talking about them and stuff like that. But today, we're going to quit fiddling with these things and get out a real chainsaw. So we'll be right back. Well, here's a real chainsaw for a change. Our 1972 XL-12 Homelite. I got this quite a year and a half ago or so. Bought it off eBay, paid I think 25 bucks for it. It didn't need a terrible amount of work, but man, it was never been serviced. It was just filthy inside. And I did a couple of good videos on it and some out showing it running too. So anyway, since we're not going to be using our little saw here, guess we won't need that. So I'm going to get this saw started and be right back. Well, that isn't the fastest cutting saw in the world, but part of it is it's got a crappy safety chain on it, which I'll change out at some point. But I wanted to come over and talk about the top of the tree here a little bit. Okay, well, this was the top of the tree pretty much. You can see where it broke off here. And these branches started to grow out, and you can see their weird angles. This tree was growing about 6 feet from another bigger tree. And so it was all entwined in the branches and whatnot. And then right here, the tree had had some substantial damage at some point before the top got blown out. And it's weird how they heal. And, you know, they build kind of a burrow in there and they're a lot stronger. And it's a lot thicker through here, and you can see that big damaged area there. But I think I'll cut that in half and see what it looks like inside. And we'll be back here in a second. Okay, well, trees are really interesting how they try to survive bad environment. This branch here came off, and instead of growing out, which would be normal, you can see here it was damaged heavily too, and so it came in and went right between these two branches here and was trying to go straight up from here to try to get out from the foliage of the tree that was behind it, but would have taken years because the other tree is substantially taller. So anyway, okay, well, you can see how this was trying to grow up and branch out a little bit in between these two branches here, and then a third one over this way. But they're pretty much all growing out away from the tree that was in, trying to get some sun and stuff. And then same here, these were growing out. There's 3 of them here. But anyway, the thing that's interesting with these though is, I don't know if you can focus on this little bit right here, but there's just a teeny bit of sap right here, and there's none in this part. There's just a little teeny bit here. This tree basically was dead. And so anyway, that's why we took it out, because it's too close to the others and unhealthy, and so we're just trying to get our forest cleaned out and get the healthy trees healthier. So we'll be back and do some more cutting. Yeah, you can see the weird pattern here. Hard spot right here. The rings through here are really big. real close right in here and right here and real wide over here. That's like I say, trees do a lot of strange things trying to survive. So this side here where the rings are close would be the side that gets the wind all the time. This would be the weak side. Anyway, we get this cut up. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the sawhorse. Well, I built this quite some time ago. Did a video on how to build it and stuff, but there's been a lot of other videos. But you know, my motto is use what you have. And this was the remnants out of an old shipping crate. I actually built two of them, gave one to my buddy Mr. C. And you know, it's fairly portable, lightweight actually for what it is. And so I'll show you that in a bit. But the thing that's nice about this is, you know, sometimes you get in a hurry and, you know, I've cut here and here and there's little battle scars all over the place here. But, you know, if the wood gets bad, it's just held on with screws. The board is, I can just take it off and replace it. And, you know, on the feet here, if they get rotten on the bottom, I can just measure up an inch and cut it off and got a fresh surface. Before I put it away for the winter, I'll put a linseed oil on it and help preserve it. But anyway, we come over here, be right back. Okay, well here's some more of the tree. We've got these three big sections left here. And you know, it's fairly hot and it's really humid today, so I could drag these over to the sawhorse and I'll be sweating and huffing and puffing. So we'll show you why the sawhorse is such a good deal. So I'll go grab it and bring it over here and set it up. So it's flat on the ground. There we go. So all I can do is pick the log up and set it in here and take that one, flip it over in here and get that over here and cut it up. Be right back. Too strong. Anyway, I'll cut this up and get this one over here and cut it up too. And we're going to use our tongs here to pull this up. We'll be back. Well, I got the last piece here to pull up and cut. The saw is starting to have a few little fuel issues, and I'll talk about that after I'm done cutting. But anyway, get this brought up here. Be right back. Okay, well, we got it cut up successfully, and I'm going to go over and talk about the problems the saw is experiencing and what I'll need to do to fix it. So we'll be right back. Well, we got the tree cut up, so I want to talk about the saw a little bit and some of the challenges you have with these old saws. At the last of the cutting, I was having a little bit of a lean condition and it was a little hard starting when it was hot, which the times I've used the saw before has been in the cold weather, so I thought it might be vapor locking, which it might have been slightly. But anyway, talk about a few different things. The XL-12s were made from 1964 until 1988. The first few years they were a little bit different. The fuel pickup system was different. It had what's called a wick system. And this one was a 1972, and it has a regular filter in it. And so anyway, this is the most copied saw of any in the world. Every other saw manufacturer except for McCulloch and a few others copied it almost exactly. And the Lombard even had a Homelite engineer build one, and it was almost 100% copy. But anyway, the name comes from the XL-12 stands for 12 pounds, and the head with nothing on it is 12 pounds and 12 ounces. And this saw basically is all metal except for the cover on the air filter. That's plastic, but the chassis is all metal, bar, everything. There's no anti-vibe on it. This has got a 20-inch factory bar on it, and it's 54.2 cc or 3.3 cubic inches. So, like I say, when you're dealing with old saws, there's always little things you got to look for. And like I say, I was having a little bit of a lean condition. And when I got this saw, I don't think it had ever been cleaned. I mean, it was more junk in it than almost any saw I've ever had. And the fuel tank, which is part of the case, which is metal, had a terrible amount of corrosion in it. I scraped out almost a full cup of corrosion in it. I kept working on it and cleaning it, and I've changed the fuel filter a couple of times, and so I thought, well, that's the first thing I better check is the fuel filter, because it was not drying fuel up properly when it was trying to start. And so the filter, even I put a great big fuzzy one in there, which really does pick up all the crap. And yeah, it was partially plugged, it wasn't 100%, but. And then the other thing that I found was that the gas cap here has a little bronze screen right here, and then there's a hole inside the cap, and that lets air in the fuel tank. As the fuel's drawn down, air just dropping in so that the carburetor can pump the fuel still. Well, that was partially plugged too, so there's two problems I found. But that's part of the fun of having old saws. You got to figure out how to beat the odds and get them running. So anyway, that tree that we cut up and stuff, turns out it was 35 years old. And I showed you the top and all the other stuff in the video there. But anyway, these are really a great old saw. And so if you're a saw collector, you should have one. The thing that's really unusual is that I hadn't owned any Homelites like this, the bigger ones, until about a year and a half ago when I got this and a Super XL, which is 58 cc. But the Homelite dealer in our area was just a little bitty place and didn't sell very many saws, although he was a superb mechanic. He did mostly Homelite marine engines, outboard engines and stuff. That was his key thing, and he'd work on small engines and stuff. But like I say, he was really a top-notch mechanic. But I think he had to sell some saws to continue to be a Homelite outboard dealer. So there you have it, another exciting adventure in Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Vintage is best, and we'll see you in the next exciting video.